Single dad struggling as a waiter cries after Ronaldo helps him. How will this story turn out? To find out, watch the video to the end. But first, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications to get more stories like this. The city streets buzzed with energy as Mateo rushed towards the upscale restaurant where he worked as a waiter. His shirt, still damp from the hasty ironing, clung to his back as he navigated through the crowded sidewalks. Glancing at his watch, he realized he was running late again. As a single father, every minute counted. He couldn't afford to lose this job, not when his daughter depended on him. Mateo pushed open the restaurant's back door, the kitchen's heat and chaos enveloping him. "You're late," barked Mr. Duarte, his manager, fixing him with a disapproving glare. Mateo mumbled an apology and quickly clocked in, his mind already racing with the countless tasks ahead. He tied his apron and began setting tables, his thoughts drifting to his daughter, Isabella. She was his world, the reason he endured the long hours and demanding customers. He pictured her smile, her eyes sparkling with innocence, and felt a surge of determination. He would do anything to give her a better life. The lunch rush descended upon the restaurant like a tidal wave, and Mateo found himself running from table to table, taking orders, delivering food, and tending to endless requests. Customers snapped their fingers, demanding immediate attention. Mateo kept his head down, his smile never faltering, even as his feet ached and his back strained under the weight of heavy trays. As the day wore on, Mateo's exhaustion grew. He had barely eaten, grabbing bites of leftover food when he could. Mr. Duarte watched him like a hawk, ready to pounce on any perceived misstep. Mateo wished that someone would recognize his hard work and dedication, but in this unforgiving city, kindness was a rare commodity. The dinner shift brought new challenges. The restaurant was packed, and Mateo found himself juggling multiple tables simultaneously. He moved with practiced efficiency, but the demands kept mounting. At one table, a well-dressed man waved him over impatiently. "I've been waiting for my steak for 20 minutes, he snapped, his eyes cold. Mateo apologized profusely, assuring the man that his order would be out shortly. Hurrying to the kitchen, he urged the chefs to prioritize the steak, knowing that his job was on the line. But as he returned to the dining room, the steak balanced precariously on his tray. Disaster struck. A passing customer bumped into him, sending the plate crashing to the floor. The restaurant fell silent, all eyes on Mateo. Mr. Duarte materialized at his side, anger radiating from his tense form. "Clean it up," he growled, "and consider this your final warning." Mateo quickly swept up the shattered remains of the steak, his face burning with shame. He could feel the customers' stares, their judgment searing into his skin. He wished he could disappear, fade into the background like he always did. As the night progressed, Mateo's spirit grew heavy. The well-dressed man continued to complain, his voice rising with each perceived slight. Mr. Duarte's glare intensified, his gaze promising dire consequences. Mateo knew he was one mistake away from losing his job, from failing his daughter. The weight of his responsibilities threatened to crush him, but he couldn't let it show. He had to be strong for Isabella's sake. As he delivered another round of drinks to the well-dressed man's table, the customer's patience finally snapped. "Incompetent fool," he shouted, loud enough for the entire restaurant to hear. "How difficult is it to get a simple order right?" Mateo froze, his heart pounding in his ears. He opened his mouth to apologize, but no words came out. Mr. Duarte appeared at his side, his face a mask of barely contained fury. "Mateo, a word in my office." "Now." Mateo followed him, his legs trembling. He knew what was coming, but it didn't make it any easier. Mr. Duarte closed the door behind him, his eyes narrowing. "I've had enough of your incompetence," he snarled. "You're a liability to this restaurant. You have 1 hour to finish your shift, and then you're fired." Mateo felt his world crumbling around him. He needed this job, needed the income to support his daughter. He wanted to beg, to plead for another chance, but he knew it was futile. Mr. Duarte had made up his mind. Fighting back tears, Mateo returned to the dining room. He had 1 hour left, one final chance to prove his worth. He threw himself into his work, determined to leave with his head held high. But the well-dressed man was relentless. He nitpicked every detail, his voice dripping with condescension. Mateo could feel his resolve cracking, his composure slipping. As he cleared a table near the back of the restaurant, he heard the man's mocking laughter. "I can't believe they hire people like him," he sneered, his words cutting through the din of the crowded room. He's pathetic. Something inside Matteo broke. The tears he had been holding back spilled down his cheeks, his shoulders shaking with silent sobs. He stumbled towards the back door, desperate for air, for escape. He burst into the alleyway, the cool night air a shock to his lungs. He leaned against the wall, his body trembling with exhaustion and despair. He had failed his daughter, failed himself. Lost in his misery, Matteo didn't notice the figure approaching until a gentle hand touched his shoulder. He looked up, his vision blurred by tears, and found himself face to face with Cristiano Ronaldo. The soccer superstar's eyes were filled with concern, his expression soft. "Are you all right?" he asked, his voice low and soothing. Matteo stared at him, unable to comprehend what was happening. Cristiano Ronaldo, one of the most famous athletes in the world, was standing in front of him, offering comfort. I'm fine," he managed, his voice hoarse. "Just a rough night." Ronaldo nodded, his gaze understanding. "I saw what happened in there," he said, gesturing towards the restaurant. "You don't deserve to be treated like that." Matteo shrugged, his eyes downcast. "It's my job. I have to take it." Ronaldo shook his head. "No one should have to endure such cruelty. You have a strength within you, a resilience that shines through. Don't let them break you." Matteo felt a surge of emotion at Ronaldo's words. No one had ever spoken to him like this, with such kindness and respect. He felt seen, understood in a way he had never experienced before. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice choked with gratitude. "You have no idea how much that means to me." Ronaldo smiled, his eyes crinkling at the corners. "I have an idea," he said softly, "and I want to help." Matteo stared at Ronaldo, disbelief etched on his face. "Help me," he repeated, his voice barely above a whisper. "How?" Ronaldo's smile widened. "I have a proposition for you," he said, his tone filled with warmth. "A chance to start fresh, to build a better life for yourself and your daughter." Matteo felt his heart leap, hope blossoming in his chest. He had never dared to dream of a way out, a path to a brighter future. But here was Cristiano Ronaldo, offering him a lifeline. "I own a restaurant," Ronaldo continued, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "A place where I want to create a culture of kindness, of respect for all. And I need someone like you to help me make that vision a reality." Matteo's eyes widened. "Me?" he asked, his voice trembling. "But I'm just a waiter. I don't have any special skills." Ronaldo shook his head. "You have the most important skill of all, empathy. You understand the struggles of those around you, the pain of being overlooked and undervalued. That's what I need in a manager." Matteo felt tears prick the corners of his eyes. A manager? It was a position he had never dared to dream of, a responsibility he had never considered himself worthy of. "I don't know what to say," he stammered, his heart racing. "This is more than I ever could have imagined." Ronaldo placed a hand on his shoulder, his touch firm and reassuring. "Say yes," he urged, his voice filled with conviction. "Say yes to a new beginning, to a future where you and your daughter can thrive." Matteo took a deep breath, his mind reeling. He thought of Isabella, of the countless sacrifices he had made for her. He thought of the years of struggle, of the constant fear of failure. And then he thought of the man standing before him, the legend who had seen something in him, something he had never seen in himself. "Yes," he said, his voice strong and steady. "Yes, I accept." The next morning, Matteo stood before the sleek facade of Ronaldo's restaurant, his heart pounding with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. He had barely slept the night before, his mind racing with the possibilities that lay ahead. As he pushed open the glass doors, he was greeted by a bright, airy space, filled with the aromas of freshly baked bread and simmering spices. The staff bustled about, their faces alight with purpose and enthusiasm. Ronaldo emerged from the kitchen, his smile wide and welcoming. "Matteo," he called, striding forward to clasp his hand. "Welcome to your new home." Matteo felt a lump form in his throat, overwhelmed by the warmth of Ronaldo's greeting. He had never felt so welcomed, so valued. "Thank you," he managed, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you for this opportunity." Ronaldo shook his head. "It is I who should be thanking you," he said, his eyes shining with sincerity. "You have a gift, Matteo. A gift for connecting with people, for seeing their struggles and their triumphs. That is what will make this place special." Matteo felt a surge of pride, a sense of purpose he had never known before. He had spent so long feeling invisible, feeling like just another cog in the machine. But here, in this place, he had the chance to make a real difference. As Ronaldo led him through the restaurant, introducing him to the staff and explaining his vision for the future, Matteo felt a sense of belonging, of being part of something bigger than himself. And when Ronaldo handed him the keys to the restaurant, a symbol of his trust and faith, Matteo knew that his life had changed forever. He had found his calling, his chance to create a legacy of his own. The first few weeks at the restaurant were a whirlwind of activity. Matteo threw himself into his new role, learning every aspect of the business, from the kitchen to the accounting books. He worked closely with the staff, getting to know each of them as individuals, learning their strengths and their struggles. He implemented new training programs, focusing on empathy and customer service, creating a culture of kindness and respect. And he watched as the restaurant began to thrive, as word spread of the warm, welcoming atmosphere and the delicious, innovative cuisine. But it wasn't always easy. There were long hours, difficult customers, and moments of self-doubt. Matteo sometimes found himself wondering if he was truly cut out for this, if he had what it took to lead. It was in those moments that he thought of Isabella, of the pride he saw in her eyes when he told her about his new job. She was thrilled for him, excited to see her daddy taking on a new challenge. And he thought of Ronaldo, of the faith he had placed in him, the trust he had shown. He knew that he couldn't let them down, that he had to keep pushing forward, no matter how difficult the road became. One evening, as he sat in his office, poring over the books, a knock at the door startled him from his thoughts. He looked up to see Ronaldo, a knowing smile on his face. "Burning the midnight oil?" he asked, settling into the chair across from Matteo. Matteo shrugged, a rueful grin tugging at his lips. "Just trying to keep up," he admitted, rubbing his eyes. "There's so much to learn, so much to do." Ronaldo nodded, his gaze understanding. "Leadership is never easy," he said, his voice soft. "But you are doing an incredible job, Matteo. The staff respects you, the customers adore you. You are making a real difference here." Matteo felt a swell of emotion at Ronaldo's words, a sense of validation he had never known before. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick. "I couldn't do it without you, without your support and guidance." Ronaldo reached across the desk, clasping Matteo's hand in his own. "We are a team," he said, his eyes shining with conviction. "Together, we will build something truly special here, something that will last long after we are gone." And as Matteo looked into Ronaldo's eyes, he saw a reflection of his own determination, his own desire to create something meaningful. He knew that he had found his purpose, his calling, and he knew that no matter what challenges lay ahead, he would face them head-on, with the support of those who believed in him. As the months passed, Matteo's confidence grew. He became a leader, a mentor to his staff, guiding them with empathy and wisdom. He watched as they blossomed under his tutelage, taking on new challenges and achieving new heights. And he watched as the restaurant became more than just a place to eat. It became a community hub, a place where people from all walks of life could come together, share a meal, and connect on a deeper level. Matteo took great pride in the special events he organized, from charity dinners to community forums. He saw the power of food to bring people together, to break down barriers and forge new bonds. But even as he celebrated the restaurant's successes, he never forgot his roots. He made a point to reach out to other struggling single parents, offering them jobs and support, giving them the same chance that Ronaldo had given him. And he never forgot the lessons he had learned in his darkest moments, the importance of kindness, of empathy, of seeing the humanity in every person. One evening, as he was closing up the restaurant, he heard a knock at the back door. He opened it to find a young man, his clothes shabby and his face lined with exhaustion. "I'm sorry to bother you," the man said, his voice shaking. "But I heard that you sometimes give people a chance, even when they've hit rock bottom. I was wondering if maybe you had a job for me. Anything at all. I just need a way to support my family." Matteo felt a surge of empathy, a recognition of the desperation he saw in the man's eyes. He knew that feeling all too well, the sense of being at the end of one's rope, of having nowhere else to turn. Without hesitation, he opened the door wider, ushering the man inside. "Come in," he said, his voice warm. "Let's talk. I'm sure we can find a place for you here." And as he sat with the man, listening to his story and offering words of encouragement, Matteo knew that he was fulfilling his true purpose. Not just as a restaurateur, but as a beacon of hope, a light in the darkness for those who had lost their way. As the restaurant continued to thrive, Mateo's personal life blossomed as well. He found himself spending more and more time with Isabella, cherishing every moment he had with her. He watched as she grew, as she blossomed into a kind, compassionate young woman. He saw the pride in her eyes when she spoke of him, of the work he was doing at the restaurant, and he felt a sense of fulfillment, a sense of purpose that went beyond his professional achievements. He knew that he was setting an example for her, showing her the power of hard work, of dedication, of using one's talents to make the world a better place. But even as he reveled in his newfound happiness, Mateo never forgot the man who had made it all possible. Ronaldo remained a constant presence in his life, a mentor and a friend. They often sat together after hours, sharing stories and laughter over a glass of wine. They spoke of their hopes and dreams, of the impact they hoped to make on the world. And Mateo knew that he owed everything to Ronaldo, to the kindness and generosity he had shown him in his darkest hour. One evening, as they sat together in the quiet of the empty restaurant, Mateo turned to Ronaldo, his eyes shining with emotion. "I never thanked you," he said, his voice thick. "Not really. Not in the way you deserve." Ronaldo smiled, his gaze warm. "You have thanked me every day," he said softly, "with your hard work, your dedication, your compassion." One day, as Mateo was preparing for the lunch rush, he received an unexpected visitor. Ronaldo walked in, his face somber, his eyes filled with a quiet intensity. "Mateo," he said, his voice low and serious. "I need to speak with you. It's important." Mateo felt a flicker of concern, a sense that something was amiss. He followed Ronaldo to his office, his heart pounding in his chest. As they sat down, Ronaldo took a deep breath, his gaze meeting Mateo's. "I've received an offer," he said, his voice steady. "An opportunity to expand the restaurant, to take it to new heights." Mateo felt a surge of excitement, a sense of possibility. But as he looked into Ronaldo's eyes, he saw a flicker of hesitation, a hint of uncertainty. "That's incredible," he said, leaning forward. "What's holding you back?" Ronaldo sighed, his shoulders slumping. "It would mean stepping away," he said softly, "leaving the day-to-day operations to someone else. And I'm not sure if I'm ready for that." Mateo felt a lump form in his throat, a sense of understanding washing over him. He knew how much the restaurant meant to Ronaldo, how much of himself he had poured into it. But he also knew that growth often required sacrifice, that sometimes the greatest opportunities came with the greatest risks. "Ronaldo," he said, his voice gentle but firm, "you have built something incredible here, something that has touched countless lives, including my own. And now you have the chance to take that impact even further." He reached across the desk, clasping Ronaldo's hand in his own. "I know it's scary," he said, his eyes shining with conviction. "But I also know that you have the strength, the vision to make this work. And I will be here every step of the way to support you and carry on your legacy." Ronaldo looked at him, his eyes glistening with emotion. "You really believe that?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Mateo nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "With all my heart," he said, his voice ringing with sincerity. "You have given me so much, Ronaldo. Now let me give something back to you. Let me be the one to carry this forward, to take the restaurant to new heights. And know that I will do it with the same compassion, the same dedication that you have shown me." Ronaldo took a deep breath, his face relaxing into a smile. "Okay," he said, his voice filled with a quiet determination. "Let's do this. Together." The transition was not easy. There were long hours, sleepless nights, moments of doubt and uncertainty. But through it all, Mateo and Ronaldo remained united, their bond stronger than ever. They worked tirelessly to expand the restaurant, to bring their vision to life. They scouted new locations, hired new staff, developed new menus that pushed the boundaries of culinary innovation. And slowly but surely, their hard work began to pay off. The restaurant's reputation grew, spreading far beyond the confines of the city. Food critics raved about the bold flavors, the inventive techniques. Customers flocked from far and wide, eager to experience the magic for themselves. But even as they celebrated their successes, Mateo never lost sight of what truly mattered. He continued to prioritize his staff, his community, treating every person with the same kindness and respect that Ronaldo had shown him. He organized fundraisers and food drives, using the restaurant's platform to make a difference in the lives of those who needed it most. He mentored young chefs, sharing his knowledge and experience, helping them to find their own paths to success. And through it all, he remained a devoted father to Isabella, cherishing every moment he had with her. He watched as she grew into a confident, compassionate young woman, ready to take on the world. One evening, as they sat together in the quiet of the restaurant, Isabella turned to him, her eyes shining with pride. "Dad," she said, her voice filled with emotion, "I hope you know how much you inspire me, how much I admire the man you have become." Matteo felt tears prick the corners of his eyes, a sense of overwhelming love and gratitude washing over him. "Oh, Isabella," he said, his voice thick, "you inspire me every day. You are the reason I do all of this, the reason I strive to be better." Isabella smiled, reaching out to take his hand. "You are better," she said, her voice ringing with conviction. "You are the best father, the best leader, the best person I know. And I am so incredibly proud to be your daughter." Matteo pulled her into a tight hug, his heart swelling with a joy he had never known before. And in that moment, he knew that all the struggles, all the sacrifices, had been worth it. For in this life he had built, in the love of his daughter and the respect of his community, he had found a richness beyond measure. Years passed, and the restaurant continued to thrive under Matteo's leadership. It expanded to new cities, new countries, becoming a global brand synonymous with innovation, with compassion, with the power of food to bring people together. Matteo remained at the helm, guiding the company with the same principles that Ronaldo had instilled in him all those years ago. He never forgot his roots, never lost sight of the struggles that had shaped him, and he made sure that every employee, every customer felt valued, felt seen. He created a culture of empathy, of understanding, where every person was treated with dignity and respect. But even as he achieved success beyond his wildest dreams, Matteo knew that his greatest accomplishment was the impact he had made on the lives of others. The struggling single parents he had given a chance, the young chefs he had mentored, the communities he had nourished with both food and kindness. One day, as he sat in his office, reflecting on his journey, a knock at the door pulled him from his thoughts. He looked up to see Ronaldo, a proud smile on his face. "Matteo," he said, his voice filled with warmth, "I just wanted to drop by, tell you how proud I am of you, of everything you have accomplished." Matteo felt a lump form in his throat, a sense of overwhelming gratitude washing over him. "None of this would have been possible without you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You changed my life, Ronaldo. You gave me a chance when no one else would. And for that, I will always be grateful." Ronaldo shook his head, his eyes shining with sincerity. "You changed your own life, Matteo," he said softly. "You had the strength, the resilience, the compassion inside you all along. I simply helped you to see it." Matteo stood, crossing the room to pull Ronaldo into a tight hug. "Thank you," he whispered, his voice choked with tears. "Thank you for believing in me, for seeing something in me that I couldn't see in myself." Ronaldo returned the embrace, his own eyes glistening with emotion. "Thank you," he replied, his voice soft but filled with conviction, "for being an inspiration to us all, for showing us the true meaning of leadership, of compassion, of using our gifts to make the world a better place." And as they stood there, two men united by a bond that transcended time and circumstance, Matteo knew that his life had been forever changed, not just by the opportunities he had been given, but by the person he had become. A person of strength, of resilience, of unwavering kindness in the face of adversity. A person who had found his true calling, his true purpose, and who would spend the rest of his days living it to the fullest. As Matteo entered his later years, he began to reflect on his legacy, on the impact he hoped to leave on the world. He knew that he had achieved great things, that he had touched countless lives through his work at the restaurant. But he also knew that there was still so much more to be done. So many people who were struggling, who needed a helping hand, a chance to build a better life. And so, with the same determination that had fueled him throughout his career, Matteo set out to create something new, something that would outlast him, that would continue to make a difference long after he was gone. He established a foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to supporting single parents, to helping them achieve their dreams. He poured his heart and soul into the project, using his resources and his influence to provide education, job training, childcare, and other essential services. And he watched as the foundation grew, as it began to change lives in the same way that Ronaldo had changed his. He saw the hope in the eyes of the parents he served, the gratitude in their voices as they thanked him for his support. But even as he celebrated the foundation's successes, Matteo never forgot the man who had made it all possible. Ronaldo remained a constant presence in his life, a cherished friend and mentor. They often sat together, two old men reflecting on the twists and turns of fate that had brought them together. They spoke of the challenges they had faced, the triumphs they had achieved, and they marveled at the way their lives had been intertwined, at the way a single act of kindness had set in motion a chain of events that had changed the world. One evening, as they sat in the quiet of Matteo's home, Ronaldo turned to him, his eyes filled with a deep, abiding affection. "Matteo," he said, his voice soft but filled with conviction, "I want you to know that meeting you, helping you, was one of the greatest privileges of my life. You have become not just a dear friend, but a true inspiration. A reminder of the power we all have to make a difference, to change lives for the better." Matteo felt tears well up in his eyes, a sense of overwhelming love and gratitude washing over him. "Ronaldo," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I owe everything to you. My success, my happiness, the man I have become. All of it is because of you, because of the chance you gave me all those years ago." Ronaldo reached out, clasping Matteo's hand in his own. "No, my friend," he said, his eyes shining with sincerity. "You owe it to yourself, to your own strength, your own resilience, your own unwavering compassion. I simply helped you to see the greatness that was already within you." And as they sat there, two old friends basking in the warmth of a bond that had stood the test of time, Matteo knew that his life had been truly blessed, not just by the success he had achieved, but by the love he had found, the lives he had touched, and by the knowledge that, in the end, it was the kindness we showed to others that truly defined us, that left the most enduring mark on the world. Years later, Matteo stood on a stage, his eyes filled with tears of joy and gratitude. He was being honored for his lifetime of service, for the countless lives he had touched through his work at the restaurant and the foundation. As he looked out at the sea of faces, he saw the people who had been with him every step of the way. His beloved daughter Isabella, now a successful businesswoman in her own right. His cherished friend Ronaldo, his eyes shining with pride and affection. And the countless individuals he had helped over the years, the single parents and struggling families who had found hope and opportunity through his efforts. Matteo took a deep breath, his heart filled with a profound sense of love and fulfillment. And as he stepped up to the microphone, he knew exactly what he wanted to say. "My friends," he began, his voice strong and clear, "I stand before you tonight not to celebrate my own accomplishments, but to honor the people who made them possible. The people who believed in me, who supported me, who inspire me to be the best version of myself." He turned to Ronaldo, his eyes filled with gratitude. "To Ronaldo," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "the man who changed my life with a single act of kindness, who saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself, and who gave me the chance to build a better future for myself and my family. I will never be able to repay the debt I owe you, my friend. But I will spend the rest of my days trying to live up to the example you set, to be a light in the darkness for others as you were for me." He turned to Isabella, his heart swelling with love and pride. "To my darling daughter," he said, his voice trembling with emotion, "the reason I wake up every morning, the reason I strive to be better. You are my greatest achievement, my greatest joy. And I am so incredibly proud of the woman you have become, of the compassion and strength you bring to everything you do." Finally, he turned to the audience, his eyes sweeping over the faces of the people he had served. "And to all of you," he said, his voice ringing with conviction, "the individuals and families who have trusted me, who allowed me to be a part of your lives. You are the reason I do this work, the reason I will never stop fighting for a world where every person has the chance to thrive. Your resilience, your determination, your unwavering hope in the face of adversity is what inspires me every day." Matteo paused, his eyes shining with tears of gratitude. "Life is not always easy," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "It is filled with challenges and obstacles, with moments of darkness and despair. But it is also filled with moments of joy, of love, a profound connection with others. And it is in those moments that we find our true strength, our true purpose." He looked out at the audience, his heart filled with a profound sense of love and unity. So let us go forward from this night renewed in our commitment to kindness, to compassion, to the power of the human spirit to overcome even the greatest of odds. Let us remember that every act of generosity, every moment of connection has the power to change a life, to set in motion a chain of events that can transform the world. And let us never forget that, in the end, It is the love we give to others that is our greatest legacy, our most enduring gift to the world. As the audience rose to their feet, their applause thundering through the room, Matteo felt a profound sense of peace wash over him. He had faced countless challenges in his life, had known moments of despair and hopelessness, but he had also known moments of joy, of love, a profound connection with others. And it was those moments that had made everything worthwhile, that had given his life meaning and purpose. And as he stepped off the stage, into the embrace of his loved ones, Matteo knew that he had truly lived a life well lived. A life filled with kindness, with compassion, with the unwavering belief in the goodness of the human heart. A life that had left the world a little brighter, a little better than he had found it. And for that, he would always be grateful.